Hello. I've decided to do VEDA again for August. So here I am with VEDA day 1. And for day 1, I'm going to do a reading rush wrap up. This was my spread for the reading rush in my journal. So I have my TBR listed, and then I have reading progress. I've done it rainbow order, and started on Monday with red, and then to purple on the last day. And then I have the challenges down here. I've colored in the ones I've done. So this is like an overview. So let's start with Monday. I started because internet, and it was really good, and I really enjoyed it, but it's also quite dense, and I couldn't handle reading loads of it at a time, so I am currently, I've gotten to page 52. And yeah, as you can see, I read most of it in the beginning of the week, and then like 2 pages on the last day. On Monday, I read 2 pages in total. So yeah, I did already say in my racing to read tag video that I wasn't like hyper focusing on reading during the reading rush because I was with family and friends and I wanted to catch up and stuff. So yeah, that's the result. On the Tuesday, I started A Whole Life. Oh, this one, A Whole Life by Robert Seethaler. And I read a good, like, a small chunk, and then like finished it on the Thursday, and I was kind of meh about this book. It's told from a rather distant third person, so you don't get much of his thought process or anything, but you do get what the title says. You get a whole life of this man who grows up in a remote, Germany, I think. Yeah, it takes it through, like, it goes from before the First World War, and then he enlists in the Second World War, and it ends like when he dies. It's fascinating with like thinking about history and what he goes through in his life, what history happens, kind of. But yeah, it felt kind of impersonal and remote, so I didn't connect super well to this book. But it was okay. Next, when I was finished with that one, I started this one. Let's see if I remember the correct translated title. No. Anyway, it's comprised of 5 different stories. You follow a hydrogen atom through history. And we start out in Greenland in 700 and something, and we end up in California in, when was that? Around year 2000. And yeah, it's fascinating. It's definitely like each story is quite narrow. It's more like a novella. There's a lot of kind of mindfulness going on in this book. Like, at the same time as this happened, all these other things happened, completely separate places in the world. There's also like to be mindful of like how big the world is. There's also a little bit about the butterfly effect, in that, like, if that hadn't happened, then that hadn't happened, which then happened and then happened. So like the causality of one tiny thing happening. So like, because of this broken lintel, he got married to that girl he got married to. But there was like a whole chain of events in between. And I found those digressions kind of endearing and fun. I really enjoyed this book much more than I expected to. it was really good. So this is an author I will definitely keep an eye on. Simon, well, in Norwegian, I think it's Simon Stranger, but I'm not sure. Seems to have an English name. And he's Norwegian. Anyway, I finished that one on the Sunday. So on the final day of the reading rush, I finished this one in a hotel room in Oppdal. So I never got to this one, which is fine. I was happy with what I read, and this means that I didn't finish the 2 books that only counted for 1 challenge each. So the challenges I didn't get were a book that inspired a movie, for Gentleman Jack, and a book in a genre I want to read more, which is this one, Because Internet. I did get read a book completely outside your house with A Whole Life. I did get a book that starts with the from this one. I did get a book set on a different continent with this one again, because it's everywhere in the world. Not everywhere, but around the world. Book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. I'm counting this one because it's slightly turquoisey around here. And then the first year book you touch, which was this one. If you go back to my TBR, I made a stack and I picked out that one. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with my reading rush. I'm very happy with my spread. And for future reading rushes, I might go easier on myself and pick a less ambitious TBR with more poetry and graphic novels, and maybe even plan to not get all the challenges. That could be hard, but sometimes I've planned, for example, not to get the challenge of reading and watching, reading a book and then watching the book to movie adaptation. I've planned not to do that. So I will keep that in mind for future reading rushes, I hope. So anyway, since I'm doing VEDA, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!